Hello. Welcome to the Bible Quiz channel. Get ready for an epic journey through the Bible today. Today we're putting your Bible knowledge to the test with a deep dive into the book of Joshua. Are you ready to show how well you know the scriptures? But wait, before we dive into the quiz, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ring the bell too so you don't miss any other quiz videos. Every like and subscribe helps us spread God's word even further. After you finish this quiz, leave a comment below and let us know how many questions you got right. We'd love to hear from you. So, are you ready to dive into this enlightening adventure? Let's get started.
First question. Who succeeded Moses as the leader of Israel? A. Caleb. B. Aaron. C. Joshua. D. Eleazar. The answer is C. Joshua. You can find in Joshua 1 verses 1 to 2. After the death of Moses the servant of the Lord said to Joshua son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses my servant is dead. Now then, you and all these people, get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give to them, to the Israelites. Here is the explanation. Joshua was chosen by God to lead the Israelites into the promised land after Moses' death. This marked a significant transition in leadership for the people of Israel. Second question. What river did the Israelites cross to enter the promised land? A. Nile. B. Euphrates. C. Jordan. D. Tigris. The answer is C. Jordan. You can find in Joshua 3 verses 14 to 17. So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan is at flood stage all during harvest. Yet as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. Here is the explanation. The crossing of the Jordan River was a miraculous event where the waters stopped flowing, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry ground. This event symbolized their entrance into the promised land. Third question. Which city did the Israelites first conquer in the promised land? A. Jericho. B. Ai. C. Bethel. D. Hebron. The answer is A. Jericho. You can find in Joshua 6 verses 1 to 21. On the seventh day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on that day they circled the city 7 times. The 7th time around, when the priests sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the people, "Shout! For the Lord has given you the city." Here is the explanation. Jericho's walls fell after the Israelites followed God's instructions to march around the city for 7 days and shout on the 7th day. This victory demonstrated God's power and faithfulness. Fourth question. How many times did the Israelites march around Jericho on the 7th day? A. 3. B. 5. C. 6. D. 7. The answer is D. 7. You can find in Joshua 6 verses 15 to 16. On the 7th day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on that day they circled the city 7 times. Here is the explanation. On the 7th day, the Israelites marched around Jericho 7 times before the walls collapsed. This unusual strategy was commanded by God and showed his miraculous intervention. Fifth question. Who hid the Israelite spies sent to Jericho? A. Ruth. B. Deborah. C. Rahab. D. Esther. The answer is C. Rahab. You can find in Joshua 2 verses 1 to 4. Then Joshua son of Nun secretly sent 2 spies from Shittim. Go, look over the land, he said, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. Here is the explanation. Rahab, a prostitute in Jericho, hid the Israelite spies and helped them escape. Her actions demonstrated her faith in God and resulted in her and her family's salvation. Sixth question. What sign did Rahab use to protect her family during the attack on Jericho? A. A red ribbon. B. A blue cloth. C. A scarlet cord. D. A white flag. The answer is C. A scarlet cord. You can find in Joshua 2 verse 18. Unless, when we enter the land, you have tied this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and unless you have brought your father and mother, your brothers and all your family into your house. Here is the explanation. The spies instructed Rahab to tie a scarlet cord in her window as a sign for the Israelites to spare her family. This cord symbolized her agreement with the spies and her faith in their promise. Seventh question. Which sin caused Israel's defeat at Ai? A. Idol worship. B. Stealing gold. C. Achan's disobedience. D. False prophecy. The answer is C. Achan's disobedience. You can find in Joshua 7 verses 1 to 5. But the Israelites were unfaithful in regard to the devoted things. Achan son of Carmi, the son of Zimri, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took some of them. So the Lord's anger burned against Israel. Here is the explanation. Achan took some of the devoted things from Jericho, disobeying God's command and causing Israel's defeat at Ai. His sin brought trouble upon the entire community. Eighth question. Who was stoned and burned for disobeying God's command regarding the devoted things? A. Caleb. B. Achan. C. Phinehas. D. Othniel. The answer is B. Achan. You can find in Joshua 7 verses 24 to 26. Then Joshua, together with all Israel, took Achan son of Zerah, the silver, the robe, the gold bar, his sons and daughters, his cattle, donkeys and sheep, his tent and all that he had, to the valley of Achor. Here is the explanation. Achan, along with his family and belongings, was stoned and burned as punishment for taking the devoted things. This served as a severe lesson about the consequences of disobedience. Ninth question. Which Gibeonites tricked Joshua into making a peace treaty? A. Adonizedek. B. Hoam. C. Gibeonites. D. Jabin. The answer is C. Gibeonites. You can find in Joshua 9 verses 3 to 15. However, when the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they resorted to a ruse. They went as a delegation whose donkeys were loaded with worn-out sacks and old wineskins, cracked and mended. Here is the explanation. The Gibeonites tricked Joshua by pretending to come from a distant land and made a peace treaty with Israel. This ruse saved them from destruction but led to their servitude. 10th question. How did God help Israel defeat the Amorite kings? A. Sending an earthquake. B. Making the sun stand still. C. flooding the battlefield. D. Sending hailstones. The answer is B. Making the sun stand still. You can find in Joshua 10 verses 12 to 14. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself on its enemies. Here is the explanation. God made the sun stand still to allow the Israelites more time to defeat the Amorite kings. This miraculous event demonstrated God's power and support for Israel. 11th question. Which city became the inheritance of Joshua? A. Hebron. B. Shechem. C. Shiloh. D. Timnath-Serah. The answer is D. Timnath-Serah. You can find in Joshua 19 verses 49 to 50. When they had finished dividing the land into its allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them, as the Lord had commanded. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim. And he built up the town and settled there. Here is the explanation. Joshua was given Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim as his inheritance. This fulfilled God's promise and honored Joshua's leadership. 12th question. What did the eastern tribes build that caused a dispute with the other Israelites? A. A golden calf. B. A great altar. C. A palace. D. A high tower. The answer is B. A great altar. You can find in Joshua 22 verses 10 to 12. When they came to Jeliloth near the Jordan in the land of Canaan, the Reubenites, the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh built an imposing altar there by the Jordan. The eastern tribes built a large altar by the Jordan River, which initially caused a dispute with the other tribes. 13th question. What was the purpose of the great altar built by the eastern tribes? A. To worship other gods. B. To offer sacrifices. C. To serve as a witness. D. To mark territory. The answer is C. To serve as a witness. You can find in Joshua 22 verses 26 to 27. That is why we said, let us get ready and build an altar, but not for burnt offerings or sacrifices. On the contrary, it is to be a witness between us and you and the generations that follow, that we will worship the Lord at his sanctuary with our burnt offerings, sacrifices and fellowship offerings. Here is the explanation. The altar was intended to be a witness between the eastern and western tribes that they worshiped the same God. It symbolized unity and commitment to the Lord. 14th question. Who was the high priest during Joshua's leadership? A. Eli. B. Phinehas. C. Eleazar. D. Aaron. The answer is C. Eleazar. You can find in Joshua 14 verse 1. Now these are the areas the Israelites received as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel allotted to them. Here is the explanation. Eleazar, the son of Aaron, served as the high priest during Joshua's leadership. He played a significant role in religious and ceremonial duties. 15th question. How many cities of refuge were designated by Joshua? A. 4. B. 6. C. 8. D. 10. The answer is B, 6. You can find in Joshua 20 verses 7 to 8. So they set apart Kadesh in Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. East of the Jordan, on the other side from Jericho, they designated Bezer in the wilderness on the plateau in the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth in Gilead in the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan in the tribe of Manasseh. Here is the explanation. 6 cities of refuge were designated for those who accidentally killed someone to flee to for protection. These cities ensured justice and mercy within the community. 16th question. Which tribe received no inheritance of land because the Lord was their inheritance? A. Judah. B. Levi. C. Benjamin. D. Simeon. The answer is B. Levi. You can find in Joshua 13 verse 14. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the food offerings presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. Here is the explanation. The tribe of Levi received no land inheritance as the Lord was their inheritance. They were given cities to live in and responsibilities for religious services. 17th question. Which 2 individuals were mentioned as having wholly followed the Lord? A. Joshua and Caleb. B. Moses and Aaron. C. Eleazar and Phinehas. D. Gideon and Samson. The answer is A. Joshua and Caleb. You can find in Joshua 14 verses 8 to 9. But my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. Here is the explanation. Joshua and Caleb were noted for their faithfulness in wholly following the Lord. Their loyalty and trust in God distinguished them from others. 18th question. What did Joshua set up as a witness against the people if they turned from God? A. A monument of stones. B. A scroll. C. A wooden staff. D. A bronze serpent. The answer is A. A monument of stones. You can find in Joshua 24 verses 26 to 27. And Joshua recorded these things in the book of the law of God. Then he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak near the holy place of the Lord. See, he said to all the people, this stone will be a witness against us. It has heard all the words the Lord has said to us. It will be a witness against you if you are untrue to your God. Here is the explanation. Joshua set up a large stone under the oak tree by the sanctuary of the Lord as a witness against the people. It served as a reminder of their covenant with God. 19th question. How old was Joshua when he died? A. 90 years. B. 100 years. C. 110 years. D. 120 years. The answer is C. 110 years. You can find in Joshua 24 verse 29. After these things, Joshua son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110. Here is the explanation. Joshua died at the age of 110 years. His long life and leadership had a significant impact on the history and faith of Israel. 20th question. Where was Joshua buried? A. Jericho. B. Shiloh. C. Timnath Serah. D. Gilgal. The answer is C. Timnath Serah. You can find in Joshua 24 verse 30. And they buried him in the land of his inheritance, at Timnath Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. Here is the explanation. Joshua was buried in Timnath Serah, his inherited land in the hill country of Ephraim. 21st question. Who did Joshua urge the Israelites to choose to serve? A. The gods of their ancestors. B. The gods of the Amorites. C. The Lord. D. The gods of Egypt. The answer is C. The Lord. You can find in Joshua 24 verses 14 to 15. Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods your ancestors worshipped beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Here is the explanation. Joshua urged the Israelites to choose to serve the Lord, rejecting other gods. 22nd question. How did the Israelites renew their covenant with God at Shechem? A. By offering sacrifices. B. By singing hymns. C. By taking an oath. D. By building an altar. The answer is C. By taking an oath. You can find in Joshua 24 verses 25 to 26. On that day Joshua made a covenant for the people, and there at Shechem he reaffirmed for them decrees and laws. And Joshua recorded these things in the book of the law of God. Here is the explanation. The Israelites renewed their covenant with God by taking an oath at Shechem, reaffirming their commitment to his decrees and laws. 23rd question. Which people were exempted from destruction by the Israelites due to a treaty? A. The Canaanites. B. The Amorites. C. The Gibeonites. D. The Hittites. The answer is C. The Gibeonites. You can find in Joshua 9 verse 15. Then Joshua made a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. Here is the explanation. The Gibeonites deceived Joshua into making a peace treaty with them, which saved them from destruction. 24th question. Who appeared to Joshua near Jericho, declaring himself as the commander of the army of the Lord? A. Michael the archangel. B. An unknown man with a drawn sword. C. An angel of the Lord. D. The pre-incarnate Christ. The answer is B. An unknown man with a drawn sword. You can find in Joshua 5 verses 13 to 15. Now when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied, "but as commander of the army of the Lord I have now come." Then Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence, and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" Here is the explanation. The commander of the army of the Lord appeared to Joshua near Jericho, signifying God's presence and support. 25th question. What did the Israelites use to commemorate their crossing of the Jordan River? A. A song of praise. B. 12 stones from the riverbed. C. A written scroll. D. An altar of incense. The answer is B, 12 stones from the riverbed. You can find in Joshua 4 verses 20 to 22. And Joshua set up at Gilgal the 12 stones they had taken out of the Jordan. He said to the Israelites, "In the future when your descendants ask their parents, 'What do these stones mean?' tell them, Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground." Here is the explanation. The 12 stones taken from the Jordan River were set up as a memorial to remind future generations of the miraculous crossing. 26th question. Who distributed the land among the tribes of Israel? A. Moses. B. Joshua. C. Eleazar. D. Caleb. The answer is B. Joshua. You can find in Joshua 14 verses 1 to 2. Now these are the areas the Israelites received as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel allotted to them. Their inheritances were assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Here is the explanation. Joshua, along with Eleazar and the tribal leaders, was responsible for distributing the land among the tribes of Israel. 27th question. Which tribe received the largest portion of land? A. Judah. B. Ephraim. C. Manasseh. D. Benjamin. The answer is A. Judah. You can find in Joshua 15 verse 1. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, according to its clans, extended down to the territory of Edom, to the desert of Zin in the extreme south. Here is the explanation. The tribe of Judah received the largest portion of land, extending from the southernmost part of the Promised Land. 28th question. Who requested a specific portion of land because he had wholly followed the Lord? A. Joshua. B. Caleb. C. Eleazar. D. Phinehas. The answer is B. Caleb. You can find in Joshua 14 verses 6 to 12. Now the people of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses the man of God at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses the servant of the Lord sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. And I brought him back a report according to my convictions, but my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly." Here is the explanation. Caleb requested the hill country of Hebron as his inheritance because he had faithfully followed the Lord. 29th question. Who did Joshua make a covenant with at Shechem before his death? A. The elders of Israel. B. The Gibeonites. C. The Amorites. D. The people of Israel. The answer is D. The people of Israel. You can find in Joshua 24 verses 25 to 26. On that day Joshua made a covenant for the people, and there at Shechem he reaffirmed for them decrees and laws. And Joshua recorded these things in the book of the law of God. Here is the explanation. Joshua made a covenant with the people of Israel, reaffirming their commitment to God's decrees and laws. 30th question. What did Joshua challenge the Israelites to do in his final address? A. Conquer more lands. B. Remember Moses. C. Serve the Lord. D. Build a temple. The answer is C. Serve the Lord. You can find in Joshua 24 verses 14 to 15. Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods your ancestors worshipped beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Here is the explanation. In his final address, Joshua challenged the Israelites to serve the Lord faithfully and reject other gods.
And that wraps up our quiz on the book of Joshua. We hope you enjoyed testing your knowledge and learning more about this incredible story of faith, leadership, and God's unfailing promises. If you had fun and learned something new, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you won't miss any of our future quizzes and Bible study content. We'd love to hear how many questions you got right, so leave your scores in the comments below. Also, feel free to suggest any topics you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and remember, it's not just about knowing the answers but about living out the lessons. Until next time, stay blessed and keep exploring the Bible.